Richard Fuller.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Bill is an important bill. It's an important bill that has cross-party support. And the Right Honourable Lady, the Member of Parliament for Barking, is in many ways, I don't know if it's appropriate to say the godmother, but certainly one of the key drivers of this important piece of legislation. And whether it is perfect in her regard, or nearly perfect in her regard, I think for all of us, her efforts in this will have been to the benefit of the country as a whole. So I would just like to put that on the record. And it is with some temerity that I wish to say a few points, perhaps not in accordance with some of the comments made, particularly by two Right Honourable and learned friends on these backbenches, the Right Honourable learned member for Rugby and Kenilworth and the Right Honourable and learned member for South Swindon, who made the case for extending the provisions of the failure to prevent fraud to smaller businesses. But I must say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that they have not convinced me of the merits of their argument at this stage, and I think I'm on balance with the Minister on this. In any change, I am Conservative, and therefore change is always perhaps difficult for me. And I think particularly the issue of what the implications may be for smaller businesses. I've not been persuaded by the other examples that have been put forward about health and safety or about bribery. I think here there will be a quite chilling effect if this is extended to small business owners about what their responsibilities will be. And I think it is appropriate and prudent that we go and build the measures, as the Minister has said, in his amendment to the amendment. And so I would just say that on Amendment 151. But actually, Mr. Deputy, I want to talk about another aspect that affects small businesses, which no other member has referred to in this debate, which is Amendment 30, which is regarding the disclosure of profit and loss accounts for certain companies, which this bill will require of small businesses and micro businesses that previously have been exempt. Now, this causes potentially quite some considerable concerns for owners of very, very small businesses if they are to have publicly declared their profit and loss and their balance sheets through Company House reporting. Imagine, if you will, in a town or a community, 2 or 3 competing laundries or plumbers, all of whom are maybe husband and wife, father and son, whatever construct you might want to say of a small business, or just sole proprietors, competing with each other in a small market. If it was the case that their profit and loss statements would be a matter of public knowledge, that would have very serious implications in terms of local understanding of that person or that family's personal wealth. It would have significant implications on local competition. The provisions that were in place in the bill originally provided no protection for people in those circumstances. Yes, they would still provide the information, but surely it makes sense for companies in those circumstances not to have all their very specific financial information in the public domain. And Amendment 30, I believe, and the Minister perhaps might refer to this if he has time, seeks to provide a mechanism whereby there can be a restriction on that disclosure of such personal information. It lays out in Amendment 30, Clause 56, Clause 2(1), that the Secretary of State may by regulation make provision requiring the registrar on application or otherwise. And it goes on further. Regulations which provide for the making of application may make provision as to who may make an application, the grounds on which an application be made, the information to be included in, the notice to be given, how an application to be done, etc., etc., etc. My concern here in the Amendment 30 in seeking to correct this over-public disclosure of information has put in its place quite a complicated application procedure. And therefore, I think it would be helpful if the Minister could say today what he has in mind, what the government has in mind about that application process. It would be ideal if it were just a tick box. It would be ideal if that information could be communicated to accountants across this country who regularly have to file accounts on behalf of very small business. And it'd be helpful today if the Minister could advise that it is their intent, the government's intent, that very small businesses that are in the circumstances that I've outlined will not have very private personal financial information put in the public domain, although their information will still be required by Companies House and therefore play its own role in the protection that this bill seeks to address.
Very much.